Click the menu icon, then click Setup, Setup Service, Setup Services, then click plus New to add a new service item or click on the service to edit. Setting up services is where the company creates the service offerings that can be scheduled for in-store or online. The only required fields here are the service name and duration, but there are many additional setup features related to setting up the service. Once you've identified the services, you will go to Setup Worker Details to select which services the workers offer. By default, the service will be active. Enter a service name that will appear on the appointment book. Assign the service group associated with this service. If the service is taxable, enable the taxable checkbox. If the service duration or price goes by worker level, enable the Use Multiple Service Levels checkbox. It is important to note that the price and duration can be customized per employee and per service in Setup Worker Details. If the service does not have a duration, enable the Add-on Service checkbox to note that this service gets added onto other services. Enter the amount the client pays for the service in the price field. Enter the number of minutes into the duration fields. Only enable the Double Book checkbox if the worker should take multiple appointments during that time. The available time will appear lighter on the appointment book. Buffer after, number of minutes after a service the worker is occupied, traditionally used for service cleanup. The client can continue on to other services. The service fee is a % or flat amount traditionally used to deduct product costs from service. This value can be deducted in setup compensation methods as needed. Click the arrow to display additional advanced options. Select one or multiple required post-services options if a single service is required to be booked after this service. An example of this feature is if the service is for all-over hair color and afterwards the client should book a haircut or blowout, then the required post-service options would be haircut or blowout. If multiple services are part of a booking, our experts recommend creating a service package. If the required post-services should be required when a worker is booking the appointment, enable the required post-service in-store checkbox. If the required post-services should be required when a client is booking online, enable the required post-service online checkbox. The guest charge amount is money automatically deducted from the service amount in service sales and in process compensation specifically to pay the business. Traditionally, this amount is related to a flat rate back to the business for this service. If the service name should be displayed differently from the in-house name, enter the preferred service display name in the online and client-facing name. By default, the system will display the service name if this field is left blank. Enter the description of the service here to display during the online booking process. If an online deposit is required, enable the Online Deposit Required checkbox and enter the amount or %. Online deposits are taken at the time of booking and can be applied during the service checkout. Please note, an integrated online merchant account is required to require an online deposit. If the service has rooms or equipment required for booking, select if any or all resources are required. The Any option indicates only one resource is required from a list of many. All indicates that all of the listed resources would be required. After you select the Any or all resources, select the service hours. By default, services will display by service group and then alphabetically. If you would like this service to display in a specific order, enter sort number here. Click Save when all selections are completed.